Hey, beautiful friends. Welcome to Kainos and the New Energy Era YouTube channel. My name is Lauren Hutton. I am a descended master who came down here to Earth just for the age of Aquarius. Oh my God. So let's get this party started. Things are starting to heat up, right? We had a little break in all of the energy swirling around on Earth, and it started swirling again, collapsing and reforming, collapsing and reforming, collapsing and reforming. I don't have Ascended Masters with me today. It is just me. I'm going to get you warmed up. And then each week we will have another channel with a different Ascended Master. They're all lined up. But I was like, I have got to talk to these people by myself today. Yes, I have to talk to you guys just human to human today. I am joined here, my cosmic poodle's down below, so if you see me petting somebody, it is my dog. Hey, Juna. I always put Jack up in his cage because he's insane. He would just knock everything over. 80-pound beast. So I have lost some of you guys, especially my base, the base. I shouldn't say the base. Do you guys know that the age of Aquarius cannot descend on Earth? That we cannot embody and ground the Christ consciousness on Earth without you? If you weren't here, it would not be possible, right? I know that that is a huge responsibility, but it's also where your sovereignty comes from, right? It's where your no force ferocity power comes from, right? If you aren't here on Earth, there would be no age of Aquarius. You may think you came here to get involved with your ancestral family, your karmic contacts. You may think you came here to have your enlightenment or whatever the hell you guys do all day. I can see what you like on Facebook. It's like tarot card readings that say your soulmate's coming in. I mean, I can actually see what people like on Facebook. Some of you guys are lost in politics again. Where are ya? If I haven't heard from you, maybe you can comment below and tell me, hey, Lauren, Sarah, you're wrong. I'm actually really involved. You just don't know it. That would be great. So comment below. Are you here? Are you actually bringing in the age of Aquarius? Can you, Ursula, like the only one who commented on our little warm-up video I put up yesterday, she's like, yeah, we're at the peak of the wave, looking down. Ursula, thank you. Sometimes I feel like it's just you and me, girl. You know? It's like, everybody else is off doing whatever. They're stuck in the gift shop. I feel like I have to go get you guys out of the gift shop. Let's get out of the gift shop and get on these roller coasters, right? Instead of just perusing around the gift shop. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it real quick. I want to do a little quick administrative update. I just spent from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. finishing my taxes. I got stuck in the Houston airport on my way back from Miami. I shouldn't say stuck. I'm going to tell you that story later because it's a great example of what I'm going to talk about today. Anyhow, I've been working on the taxes. We had our best financial year at New Energy Creator ever, despite me having pneumonia, despite an inside person trying to completely dismantle this place and take it apart, the business partner from HE double hockey sticks, right? We had our best financial year ever, but I also had to add up every single dollar I spent on this business. I almost fainted. This costs a lot of money to run, and we covered it, right? And then some, but holy crap. Thank you, donors. Thank you for people who buy our programs. Thank you for people who send us the extra thanks on the YouTube. We're actually adding some options to have special access to YouTube videos, so that'll be coming soon. Yeah, you guys ate at the Whole Foods buffet and you actually paid for your meal at the cash register. Etiquette in person also applies to online. So I'd like to thank everyone who consumes responsibly here. Our donations that we get each month range from $5 to $200. Each of those donations means a whole lot to me. It all adds up. to cover the cost that at 5:30 a.m. I almost fainted when I finally hit the final total on what I spent on for my personal resources. Obviously I do the taxes and I'm able to write it off, but of what I spent out of my personal funds on this business, I almost fainted, y'all. And we did really well financially this year. The best year we've ever had financially, but I still don't have enough funds to hire people full time. Therefore, I am so thankful to about a dozen volunteers. Without you guys, this business wouldn't run. I hope one day we'll be able to have a full-time staff member. We have no paid staff members right now. They're all volunteers, and there's no way it could afford to pay all the expenses that I just added up and almost passed out over and hire somebody. I do it all myself. One day that will not be the case, and I just want to thank you guys. So, wow. All right, let's get to it now that I have that done. The split between old earth and new earth is not happening out there. The split between old earth and new earth is not happening out there. It's happening in your nervous system. Now you may see it reflected out there. I pointed at this in our Sunday newsletter that went out. It goes out every Sunday. This last Sunday newsletter, if you want to be on the newsletter, go to thenewenergyera.com, fill out the form, you'll get the Sunday newsletter, I promise. And it has so much more information because I can give you like physical written notes, and I give the transcripts and descriptions of the videos. I give so much more information. It's free to sign up. Go ahead and get on there. It's the only thing I have control over. YouTube is owned by somebody else. Instagram and Facebook are owned by other a-holes, right? But my newsletter is owned by me. This a-hole owns the newsletter. So that is the only thing I actually have control over. So please get on it. So as I was talking about in the newsletter, this split is not happening out there. It's happening in here, but you can often see it in personal relationships. Have you ever seen someone with a dysregulated nervous system behave like an a-hole? If you have a regulated nervous system, you may speak your truth, but you're not losing your temper. You're not being aggressive, right? So the split is really happening in the nervous system. When you are in a regulated nervous system, you don't consume media. You don't get involved in politics. If you're getting involved in politics, the Romans aren't going home, remember? Right? You forgot that at the time of Yeshua, and now I'm reminding you again. This has nothing to do with what's happening on a political level. The split between classic earth and these new earths that are forming, ours is specifically focused on the kingdom Shambhala. It's not happening out there. It's totally based on your nervous system. 100% based on what's happening from the neck down. There's a new top 1%, right? We call it an energetic tax bracket here. Your energetic tax bracket, the elite, right, without it being about hierarchy, are in a regulated nervous system, biological body. A regulated nervous system is a sovereign, biological, autonomous vehicle in which you can express your consciousness clearly. It only takes a few people to complete this descension of the Christ consciousness on earth. Once it hits earth, then it can spread through the passageways in all of creation. Remember in 2023, the passageways to all of creation began to open up. They started out this big, now they're this big. Tobias is out there making sure they get bigger. He says the more abundant you live your life, the more joyful you live your life, not being stuck in front of the TV yelling at politicians who cannot hear you, nor would they care to listen, right? The more abundant and joyful your life is, the more the passageways expand. So you're bringing the Christ consciousness to earth through your light body, through the light of awareness, right? And by living your life in joyful abundance, you're opening up the passageways to all of creation so that light can refract, bounce off of earth, and then head on out to the far edges of creation, right? Your job is to be in a joyful, abundant life with a body that has a regulated nervous system. That benefits your little me identity, because isn't that what the little me identity wants? I hope so, right? It doesn't want more garbage, does it? More problems to solve, does it? So this thing is a win-win situation, right? You're living a joyful, abundant life, and the passageways to all of creation are opening up. You live in a regulated nervous system that can allow itself to receive, right? If you don't have a regulated nervous system, you can't receive love, new energy. You will not have an abundant life, right? Abundance happens in the nervous system. It's done through stretching the capacity to receive. The capacity to receive love, money, friendships, happy, healthy life is totally based on your nervous system, right? So the split isn't happening out there. It's inside. It's biological, but it's also psychological brain-mind mechanism, right? So those of you who have recently gone through this, like the end of your infinite well of empathy, where you're like, I am no longer going to be a doormat. I am no longer a source for never-ending empathy for people who do not appreciate it. That's also part of this, right? When you went through that, being the endless source for your family, your friends, everybody around you, like, you know, just giving, 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 giving. And you said, you know what? I'm still going to be a giving person, but I'm going to be discerning about who I give to. When you cut that off, right? A lot of you have gone through this recently. We've talked about it a lot. I acted it out as I do, right? When you stop giving at that level and you become a self-contained, autonomous, sovereign, biological human being, and you go from Homo sapien to Homo luminous, right? Homo sapiens, there's givers and there's takers, right? Homo luminous works in a supremely balanced way of giving and receiving, right? I know like one person increased their donation because they said, you know, as they give more in their donation, they receive more abundance in all forms. The highest form of abundance, not that we're really ranking them, but what we all really want is the love, the new energy love. Give it to me. So the split isn't happening out there. It's happening in here. And the people who are holding the space for it to actually occur are so few and far between. The energetic tax bracket of the top 1% lives in a healthy, happy body that is regulated and sovereign. I'll give a little human example. So I went to see some of you guys in Miami last weekend. Beautiful, beautiful weather. So nice. We had a great time. And on the way back, I got one flight to Houston. And as I was getting off my Houston flight to get on my next flight to Austin to go get my animals back, they canceled the flight. Everyone was, and then like fighting over hotel vouchers and whatever. And I just smiled. And I said, God must not, everything that happens for my highest good. It must not be time for me to get back there. The roads are probably still rough and my animals are all safe. So everyone's fighting over hotel vouchers and this and trying to get on the next flight. And I just walk off and I went to a nice hotel that doesn't even take the hotel vouchers. So it wasn't chaos. It was playing classical music. The sheets were, 1,000 ply, Egyptian cotton, right? Total peaceful move. I just walked away from the chaos, had a big smile on my face, went to the hotel that I liked there, didn't fight. I booked 3 flights on my way home, and whatever one I got on, once I got on it, I just canceled the other 2 because the flights kept getting canceled and then rebooked and they were all full. So I was like, I'm gonna go home tomorrow. I booked 3 flights. I got my hotel room and I slept like a freaking baby. I needed that like single day, 24 hours in a hotel room all by myself. I used it. I started working on my taxes. They take me quite a bit of time. They're quite complicated. And I had a nice steak dinner and I just hung out. And then the next morning I strolled onto my plane. Once it took off, I canceled the other 2 tickets that I had for backup. Then I was in my car. The sun was shining. All the ice had melted off the roads for the most part. And I went and got my dogs, right? Moving through life with a regulated nervous system. Now, the reason I do that, first of all, it makes my life easier. That's about this percent of the reason. I know that everything I do, every way I respond to conflict in my life has an impact on all of creation. What if I had shrunk and said, oh, I can't get that nice hotel room. I need to fight over these hotel vouchers and they were all full and you had to be shuttled 26 miles on a bus in freezing cold weather. Like, is that the best thing for all of creation? I mean, literally everything you're doing in your life right now is impacting everything that's happening in all of creation. The passageways opening up, bringing the new energy, the Christos consciousness to earth, right? Operating from a space of already having, rather than scrolling through reels all day and looking at tarot card readers that say your husband's on its way. Guys, the only thing that's on its way is what you create, what you're creating inside of yourself. You have to establish the already having in your nervous system. We started talking about this in our donor videos, and there's a method to my madness there, right? It's like I go here, Moria's gonna take it here. He's taking it in the beginnings of the new energy and how that operates, the plasma and the electromagnetic grids. That'll be on February 10th. It's all coming. You can't get everything you need in 1 hour, right? This is the prep for all the ascended masters that are about to come in and tell you a million different things. I've got Dwell Cool, I've got Tobias, I've got Yeshua, I've got Moria, I have got Hilarion, I have Maitreya. I mean, I have a million channels. St. G and Katumi were in the shower talking to me the other day. They have a joint channel just on the light body and the light body codes and the sentience piece, blah, 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 all coming out. But none of that matters if you are not operating from an expanded, relaxed, expressive nervous system. Before you go to work, before you start getting involved in all your family drama as you do every day, it's just part of some of your lives. Work's part of some of your lives. Some of you have a full-time job scrolling on Facebook. Before you start mindlessly scrolling your reels, here are just some simple tips. Like this morning, right? I wake up early and I get mental tasks done because my mind works better in the morning. After that, I took my dogs on a nice long walk. We had a lot of lovely interactions on the street. It was lovely. I get back, 10 minutes breathing, 10 minutes light stretching, 25 minutes lifting weights. Because I'm at the age where you gotta lift the weights or you lose all your muscle mass. That's what happens when you get to a certain age, right? 10 minutes breathing, no phone, turn the phone off, 10 minutes stretching. How can you have a regulated nervous system with tense, tight muscles? Posture is important. God lives in your spine, so stand up straight. How is the flow going to happen in your body if you're like this on your phone, right? Have some fresh flowers around. I always have some fresh flowers in the house. Oh yeah. And then I have some by my bedside table. Just keeps everything going. I bought 2 plants that were supposed to be indestructible to transmute negative energy. I bought the plants dense. How about dense, not negative? I bought these 2 succulents. They were supposed to be indestructible, and I told the plants, your job is to transmute the negative, the dense energies that come through the house. They died. So I'm gonna get some new ones. right? But to keep that pranic flow going, right? Kundalini or prana, you know what? It doesn't really matter. What matters is how you feel, right? You could look at, there's a million YouTube videos on top 10 signs you're in your Kundalini, da-da-da, or, you know, pranic flow versus Kundalini flow. What do you feel like? Do you feel light and joyful? Can you stand up straight? Are you able to put your phone down? Can you breathe deeply? 10 minutes deep breathing. 10 minutes light stretches. 25 minutes weights. Then I'm here, ready for you guys. I do that for my health, but more so, I know that all of creation lives inside of me, and when I take care of my body, especially the nervous system, I'm supporting life, truth, happiness in all of creation. You may not think that you matter, that it doesn't matter if you walk around angry and hunchbacked and reactive, but it absolutely does. This is why you came to Earth. It wasn't to scroll reels and wait for your dream man to show up, or a woman. All those things come in when you come from the space of already having. So we're showing that in the donor videos. And I know this is not what you guys want to hear. I am not the whiskey you want. I am the water you need. So the split is not happening out there. It's happening in here. People who forget spirituality, forget esoteric information. The people who will end up in the kingdom, Shambhala, will be kind, caring people with a regulated nervous system. A regulated nervous system requires boundaries. If you're overgiving, right, your nervous system will be dysregulated. Look at a new mom. How regulated is her nervous system? Being a mother is the hardest thing on earth, right? And it happens in your mental health. And by mental health, I'm not talking about identity mental health. It's the mental health is the ability to, it's in neuroplasticity, right? The ability to hold the dichotomy of this is an apocalypse and this is a beautiful golden age, the age of Aquarius, the new energy era descending on Earth. Being able to look at the apocalypse without getting involved in it, right? A lot of you are going to the dopamine boost of getting involved in politics and right and wrong. The Romans are never going to go home. It's just going to get worse. Everything that's playing out on Earth, right? I've seen the videos. I watch the news every day for 10 minutes and then I turn it off without an opinion. I like to know what's going on, so I'm not sticking my head in the sand, but I'm not getting involved in it. And I know it's hard. I do have a sense of right and wrong, right? So like at the top level of angels, right? The angels who are at the highest level, God, right? They care, but it's in a very it doesn't matter kind of way, right? But as your consciousness descends, right? So there's no duality. It's not really a hierarchy. New energy moves in all directions, but I need something for the mind. So you're way out here before you came to Earth this life or whatever, before you even came to Earth the first time, angelic world. There's not really a whole lot of right and wrong. There's not duality. But as angels descend, fallen angels, that's me, that's you, right? And you're like, oh, there's good and bad. There's right and wrong, right? You know, as Yeshua came down, he realized, oh, there's right and wrong and good and bad. And he maintained a sense of non-dual justice his whole life. We covered that in the 28 days to the end of all suffering. I'm actually working on putting the 28 days to the end of all suffering in a book. And it's just, it takes a long time, because I think you guys know at this point how long and complicated it is to make a book that is not generated by a bot, right? That's the other thing. How many people's nervous systems are regulated when how connected are they to their body when they're talking to their cobot? I do it from time to time to try it out. I use AI for certain things, but I have to make a concerted effort to be fully in alignment and connected to my biology while I'm doing it, right? I came from a place where enlightenment took place only in the ethers, right? And not from the neck down. The audience was full of people disconnected from their body that wasn't regulated, with a dysregulated nervous system. Right? So before I let all these ascended masters come in and tell you all sorts of stuff, fanciful stuff, I was like, I feel responsible, right? I have a duty. I maintain a sense of non-dual justice, that you can get all the ascended master teachings in the world, right? But how you're going to survive the apocalypse and thrive in the new energy era is through a regulated nervous system, right? And it's not, a lot of people are, so there's the crazy people who are like, New Earth's coming and do that, and they're all dysregulated and it's all flashy, right? And then some of the softer materials, like the type of people who ask, where does my dog go when it dies? Those kinds of people. But I'm really proud of this part of the spiritual community, right? They're talking about how your identity is going to shift in these changing energies, right? These are the people who work with really basic, newly awakened people, right? I think Lee Harris was talking about identity changes. I do a lot of research. Another guy was talking about, right? He's like, stop getting involved in all the fanciful stuff. This is about, the nervous system, grounded alignment, right? No, the person with the most grounded alignment with their consciousness on earth, who doesn't watch anything on YouTube, has a higher chance of stepping into this kingdom Shambhala than these people who have a ton of esoteric knowledge but are doing these really crazy, hardcore interviews to get attention without talking about the grounded alignment, right? So I will bring in all these ascended masters, one a week, until I pass out, get pneumonia, or end up in the hospital again. I power through everything in my life. I don't know if you guys know that. So when people give me excuses, I'm like, yeah, I just spent 5 months dealing with abnormal cells. We don't use the C word here, but I had to deal with the C word for the last 5 months and still showed up for work every day because I know that I know and I am that I am. And the age of Aquarius is far more important than getting involved in that me drama. That's the other thing, to have a regulated nervous system, and the way we're talking about, I'm talking about full-blown light body. These people are talking about decently regulated nervous system, right? So in the light body, if you're gonna take it to the next level, you don't go from fight or flight, reactivity, the people running down the street, they get in the fight and flight and they're exercise. That produces cortisol. It makes you hold on to fat. Exercise will make you fat if you exercise that way, and then rest and digest, right? So it's that dualistic way. In the yogi world that I come from, right, you are in a state of active rest. We call that the third nervous system. It doesn't operate in a dual way. That doesn't mean you do not speak your truth. I always speak my truth. A guy sat next to me in the middle seat on the plane, and he spread his legs out, as guys do, and then he put his arms on both arms rests, as guys do. Women don't do that, by the way. And I elbowed him gently, and I said, "Sir, this is not how this flight's gonna go." And he was like, "It's not?" And I said, "No, your leg and your arm are not gonna be in my side this whole flight." And he started laughing. But it came from a place of active rest. Active rest, right? Where you're active and restful at the same time. When I sleep in samadhi, I'm in a state of active rest in my sleep. When I wake up to do my taxes, I'm in a state of active rest. Am I perfect? No. When I was around everybody this weekend, and I love everybody and know everyone's so wonderful to be around, I did have to make a little bit of effort to stay in the active rest. I felt myself kind of veering from side to side because it's easier to do when you're alone. Master it when you're alone, then go interact with the world, and those trigger points of like, oh, I'm about to dysregulate, or I did dysregulate, don't beat yourself up, right? That's every time you do dysregulate, right? You do get into the reactive mode. That's information that allows you to stretch your capacity. Without being triggered, you will not stretch your capacity. Am I 100% in this state at all times? No, right? But when from Katumi first started teaching me in 2020 to now, 2026, right? He worked with me those 5 years intensely. My capacity in my nervous system has stretched in unfathomable ways. And as my nervous system, the capacity to receive and respond rather than react from I am consciousness rather than little me identity that's always getting her panties in a wad, right? Little me identity is always ticked off at something. She doesn't ever go away fully unless I'm in samadhi and I'm totally immersed in the concentration. I lose the me. But as soon as I open my eyes and start interacting in the world, I need a little me to get going, right? So that stretches the capacity. Practice at home, go out and get triggered. See where the trigger points are, where you went to the side, and then don't beat yourself up. That's beautiful information that you can pull back into alignment. That's what the weekend I spent with you 3 lovely ladies, I want to do it again, But I did get pulled this way and that, which to me is data, creative neutrality, not like, oh, I failed, right? And those of you who keep coming back here, mistakes happen. Shit happens. People lose their temper at me from time to time, but most of them go, oh, crap, let me correct that. And I know they're going to come back, right? To themselves, not to me, right? They're going to correct. It's like, oh, I got really mad at Lauren for no reason. Oh, correct. It was just a trigger, And I get triggered too. And then I go, because we had a couple of hiccups in our trip, and it was like, oh, okay, I'm too far this way, right? Grounded alignment, right? If you can get your nervous system right, everything else will kind of fall into place, right? A lot of the change that is going to happen inside of you, right? Because who you were in the Piscean age, who you were as the little Lauren seeking realization or enlightenment, you thought that was the end goal. It turns out it doesn't really all matter all that much, right? Who you were seeking enlightenment is not who you're going to be in the age of Aquarius, right? Personality is just a pile of programming. You never get rid of all your programming or you wouldn't be in a body, right? You're reprogramming it. Reprogramming the personality. Personality is just a pile of programming. Things you value and don't value. How you interact in the world. Whatever. It's going to have to change, right? For you to thrive in the age of Aquarius and survive the apocalypse, right? So change happens most beautifully, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, in I am forgiveness. You start to see all those areas of the programming, you identify them, but with a very sweet acceptance, compassion, right? I am forgiveness. It changes everything. And as you allow this I am forgiveness, right? This clarity that's in our threefold flame, right? That is faith, clarity, and compassion. I am forgiveness brings clarity. Compassion allows you to soften enough to receive it. Faith is trusting that as one program goes, the I am God also will deliver you a new program that works a whole lot better, right? Old Lauren worked in kind of a guru-disciple relationship. Old Lauren never took a fucking vacation because service meant that she had to self-sacrifice, right? So new Lauren doesn't give advice like a guru would give a disciple. I'm not pointing out people's stuff anymore to them. Oh, I don't need to do that anymore. Unless it's in a very specific, appropriate environment, right? New Lauren takes vacation all the time. That's more important. Service is no longer about self-sacrifice. Service is about how well I'm taking care of myself. Right? When I get to the end of this life, this body wears itself out and it's time to go. I sleep so peacefully at night, 10 hours a night usually, unless I'm traveling and working with you all. I will know that I did everything I possibly could to bring the Christos consciousness to Earth, to usher in the age of Aquarius, to give as many people who wanted them, who actually asked for them, the tools to do the same. And any suffering I went through will be pea-sized little fuck shows that don't really matter, right? Because it was never about me. But even though it's never about me, I realize that taking care of myself as a whole, not as Lauren's human identity, right? The little me identity thinks taking care of itself is like, I need this. I'm waiting for this partner. Scarcity, filling in scarcity holes. Self-care from the bigger space is creating a space of already having, feeling it deeply, right? We talked about in the GWV video that first of all, I'm going to get really into the nuances in the donor database. You don't actually attract things in because nothing is outside of you. It's not separate. So you're not attracting, magnetizing. I don't chase, I attract. Actually, you don't do either if you're a fully sovereign being, right? The universe doesn't, I pointed out, the universe doesn't give you what you deserve. It's who you think you are. Eventually, and we're going to get to this in donor video 3, there's no difference between you and the universe. So it's just rearranging the cobwebs of creation until it suits your highest and best needs. And for me, my highest and best needs are what's the highest and best needs for all of creation. But they're one and the same now. The I don't chase, I attract crowd, they're still, energy and consciousness are still separate. I made it on steroids on donor video 2 so you could see what someone who is in a separated energy from consciousness. I only use my own examples. I don't point anybody else's out. I try to only use myself I try to only throw myself under the bus, but sometimes I have to throw other people under the bus for example's sake. But I'm 90% of the time I'm throwing myself under the bus. But in donor video 2, I talk about me moving through life where energy and consciousness are separate and using my connection to God, who is separate, to create as we go into donor video 3. And these go to all donors at any level. If you give $5 or you give $200 a month, everybody gets the same video. It's not really a donation because it's an exchange for all the YouTube videos and all these special videos I'm giving, but I just call it a donation because I don't want to do that weird tier thing where only the top tier gets the top information. It just feels so gross. So anybody giving the donation, I just trust that you're giving what is appropriate for you, and I give the same information to all people. You can go to the New Energy Era if you want to do that. You know, if you're consuming all these YouTube videos, it might be a good idea just for etiquette purposes and keeping energy flowing. If you watch every YouTube video to give some nominal donation just to keep it all flowing, right? You can cancel it at any time. I don't chase you down. If your credit card doesn't go through, I'm not chasing anybody down. It's like, it's there, it's not there, and it just keeps everything flowing, right? So what's happening to people with the dysregulated nervous system who are involved in politics, even though they know better? And they're trying to get that dopamine boost, right? So those people are in fragmentation. If you are in the back and forth, you're looking for your real dopamine hit, you know, you're trying to call your husband in and the whole thing, right? Those who are in the fragmentation and who stay there will go on to keep reincarnating in this classic earth reality, but with the added layer that it's turning into a global technocratic society. The first time I wrote about the global technocratic society was 2013. And when I wrote it down, I never shared it with anybody. I was like, these people are going to think I'm fucking crazy. Now it's all coming. Right? So the fragmented will have to stay, right? You cannot change the people in your family. These people are going to coexist. It's not like your family is going to split apart, right? You're going to have fragmented people in your life. I live in Austin, and now my two longest best friends, we all live in the same city. It's crazy. I'm going out with them tonight. I went out with them Wednesday. Like I have my crew back. We used to all live in separate cities and only see each other once a year. We're all living in the same city right now. And, but they're involved, you know, they live in the fragmentation. I'm able to go to dinner with them and sit in my regulated sovereign being system. They love me and I love them. I know that I'm not taking them with me to the kingdom, nor do I need to convert them. Right? And I love listening to them talk about politics and stuff because it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Right? But that's really what will determine the split. Right? I don't think it'll be something so physically dramatic. You know, it could be as the years go on. Right? But people think they're ascending into different timelines and they'll never see anybody again who's not. And that's some weird old new age hangover, right? The split isn't happening out there, it's happening inside of you, right? And I mean, there's more pieces to it, but you could boil it down to people in a fragmented nervous system and then those who are in a regulated nervous system. I mean, there's a lot more layers to this. And a regulated nervous system does not make a light body, but it is a key piece of the light body. So Katumi is going to come back in. He's going to work with St. G. We'll have a channel. That's probably next. I can't promise you that, but all those people I just said, all those ascended masters have something to say. But Katumi says, go ahead and feel into taking it a step further. We've written about it in our book, ton of videos on it. If you guys were here the last 10 years, you have it. Right, from going from rest, digest, fight or flight to all paths lead to the same destination, to that third nervous system. We could also take this a little step further, and I'll get into the nuances of it, but like I want to start real basic, right? But to take it a little step further, so if you're just moving energy through the Sushumna channel, the central channel, it's not having to go through all the chakras, right? Let's say the Sushumna channel, right, is beyond duality. The chakras, you know, the energy centers throughout your body, right, they have all the stuff stored from every lifetime in duality, right? So having that pranic flow in the body, if you can keep it in the central channel, Kundalini moves through the central channel. But I was talking to like a Kundalini master about this. And he said because of the level of information coming in and how sucked into politics people get and all this stuff, and they're not like retreating from society to have their Kundalini awakening, right? Sushumna just used to move up the central Kundalini Shakti used to just move up the central channel, in its own divine timing. Now it's like moving up the Sushumna, and then because people are so whacked out in this crazy world, it gets pulled into the chakras on either side. And then it has to make its way back into that Sushumna channel. And that was my own personal experience, right? In my other lifetimes when I had the Shakti flow, it was a much more direct path through the Sushumna. That's why I'm always pushing this central channel breath. That'll clear it out, and then the string. Because that means you're moving Shakti or your pranic flow, whatever you're doing, doesn't really fucking matter at this point. Are you relaxed? Are you joyful? Are you abundant? Forget the rest, right? Like, I can give you all the little details, but are you comfortable in your own skin? Are you relaxed? Do you have enough money to be free on planet Earth? Are you addicted to your phone? Does your body naturally crave healthy food? Don't get me wrong, I went out and drank champagne way too much on Saturday night with those 3 lovely ladies. But as soon as I get home, and it's not like a discipline or I gotta detox, it's like my body just goes, broccoli. I like broccoli. I like broccoli and plain chicken breast. And I eat that almost every meal. All right. So reality is changing. And you've got to adapt to that, right? Or you could change it the other way. You're adapting, you're changing, and reality's adapting to that. Either way, who you were last year is not going to be what gets you thriving in the age of Aquarius and surviving the apocalypse. You need a new you, fluid, malleable identity. Are you going to fragment? Guys, the amount of time you guys spend watching like reels and on Facebook is ungodly. Anybody who's trying to tell you what's happening in yourself and that your new love is coming in and, top 10 signs this and, dude, you create everything from in here. No psychic, no channel, no private one-on-one session with whomever. Throw all that shit out. You create. You are God also. You work with the materials given to you in this reality. You rearrange them the way God would rearrange them. It's no longer internal and external, right? But I was listening to a guy who was talking to a newly awakened crowd, and he told them, your job is to stabilize. And I was like, thank God someone's teaching, because the other awakening teachers aren't stabilizing people. They're working them up into ascension grids and levels. And right, do you see how unregulated that is? Your job, he told them, your job is to stabilize. I was like, oh my God, there is hope for the awakening crowd. But here you guys are, the best of the best. And you're still waiting for someone to tell you how it went, how it's going to go. I'm here to tell you that we need you, right? Your nervous system is creating your reality. We've been talking about this since the fall of Atlantis. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. It was in the Vedas that were sung. Your nervous system creates your reality. We use those sounds in the Vedas to undo the Atlantean design mind programming that has you trapped in the local linear where you're reacting to external stimulus. That was a video game that went wrong. in 2026, to stabilize, you have to step out of the video game. As long as you're in the local linear, thinking you're an individualized identity and listening to people tell you what's about, like psychics, tarot card readers, and whatever else. I love tarot cards. I play with them all the time, but this is something different, right? You're looking for information outside of you. You're still in that video game. You still got your headband on, right? So I'm not talking to a newly awakened crowd where I'm saying your job is to stabilize, right? I'm talking to the best and the brightest. You've already had your enlightenment and now you're still on earth going, what the fuck do I do next? I mean, after my realization, I was like high for what, like 3 months. And then I woke up one day and I was like, what's next? And then I really lost my mind. I mean, I went totally batshit crazy. I was homeless even though I had enough money for a house. I just couldn't fucking function. I was sleeping in the back of my truck with my dog. And I realized that was the deprogramming of the Atlantean design mind. I felt totally crazy, but I also knew that I knew. I am that I am. I know that I know. This is what the deprogramming, taking that headband off, looks like. Moving out of the local linear me identity. It was after realization, had that big high for 3 months. Then I went totally fucking batshit crazy. And all those superstars you see on our page who are in the interviews and who are the superstars here, they all went through it too. You're crazy until you're not, like a fox. That's what it costs to take this headband off. Oh my God, I'm at minute 51. All right, so all the Ascended Masters are coming in, right? But before they come in, I went to them the other day, I was like, what the fuck is happening? And they said, I don't know, you're in charge of it, you're creating it, you tell us. You fucking tell us, because you're the ones down there. What are you and your friends doing? You guys aren't my students, you're my friends. They're like, what are you and the crew doing down there? And I was like, I don't know, I think they're stuck in the gift shop, except Ursula has the map and is telling us where it goes, right? So you guys aren't students here, you're creating it too. So now you have to act like it. I gotta get you out of the gift shop. Let's get into the real Disney World and go play, you know? All right, so how to survive the apocalypse and to thrive in the new energy era, right? The split isn't happening out there, it's happening inside. And one of the greatest places you can tell is your identity shifting and your nervous system is stabilizing and or ideally moving into that third nervous system, the new energy nervous system, the new nervous system, which is always in a state of active rest. That's why I post my silly horse videos on Facebook, so you can see the active rest. I'm acting something out. It's so essential to have some sort of way to funnel your consciousness into a point in time and space. That's what my identity was never surfer, right? My identity is not horseback rider, although I do want to do some competitions, right? I need a focal point, and I like sports because I like my body. I love my body. I love this biological body. It was never meant to be a prison. It was meant to be a way to express your consciousness fully on earth, and by God, I'm going to do that, right? But you could be doing needlepoint work. You could have a garden. You could do paintings. You could be using it in your business. There has to be a focal point for consciousness to come through. Keiko does it in her blog. She does it in the videos. She doesn't need to work, right? It's about finding a focal point for all this infinite consciousness to flow in. And those projects are creating new earths. Don't stop creating. Your projects, no matter how small or silly they seem to you, whether it's redecorating your house, keeping your house clean, painting, I was coloring with my 4-year-old nephew the other day, adoptive nephew, in a coloring book. I was creating a new earth while I was coloring in the lines. Do you see? Everything you do is bringing the Christos that you do with consciousness, with presence, is bringing the Christos consciousness to earth, opening the passageways to all of creation, and ushering in the new energy era on earth. Wow, right? And all you have to do is enjoy it. Easier said than done. Finding joy on this planet, which is time and space creates such limitations, right? But if you can be creative with the materials that you have. That will also allow you to stabilize and get to the end of your life where you know you did everything you could to support this. Knowing it was never about you, but you probably had a lot of fun along the way. All right, that's getting us warmed up, but what I have coming to you is going to be like bam, 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 and way up there, right? From way up there. But let's get the human and the body and everything in alignment, because we're about to surf down the biggest wave you've seen in your lifetime, in this lifetime, right? We're at the very peak of the wave. We're about to surf down. Where you need your surfboard at the right alignment, right? You need your body right to stand up on your surfboard to surf down this wave with some grace. We've been covering this in our newsletter. If you're not on our newsletter, you should get on it. TheNewEnergyEra.com. It goes out every Sunday, right? Instead of falling down the wave, gasping for air, fragmenting, dysregulated nervous system, right? Do you want to do this last lifetime on Earth in style, or you want to be a chaotic mess, right? I'm choosing to do it with sophistication, simplicity, style. Yeah. All right, I'm going to hit an hour. I love you guys. It's all coming, right? In first week of February, it's going to be, by February 17th, it's going to be like, but when you surf a big wave, it sounds like a train coming in, right? The wind lifts it up, the ground's, everything goes quantum, right? Like in the James Bond movie, that bullet that's going so fast, but it's going so fast that you can, that's what it's gonna be like. It's gonna be so quiet. Everything's moving so fast, it goes quantum and it starts to move. The vision of it is slow motion. Wow. Supreme moment in your lifetime. This is what you came here for. And if you do all this stuff to stabilize, relax, get your body right, get your money, just get everything going, right? In a relaxed way. No panicking. And knowing you don't have to be perfect. I fuck up shit all the time. And I laugh and I go, oh, I'm gonna put that in order. There's not a day that goes by where I'm like, I had like a weird program going yesterday. I'm gonna tweak that. I still love myself. I mess up all the time. I still love myself, right? It's kind of funny. My human made a huge mistake. I went back and apologized to someone. Hey, man, I was really awful to you the other day. I'm so sorry. And that person goes, you know what? Shit happens, right? Be easy on yourself too, right? That dichotomy of like, I'm allowing change, but I'm also not going to be hard on myself or try to be a perfectionist, because that doesn't work either. Right? But if you fuck something up, you go apologize right away. You don't want to take that with you. I do that all the time. I told my friend, hey, I said something to you the other day and I could have been kinder about that. And they were like, I appreciate you saying that. I still love you. And I go, oh, thank you. Right? Right? It comes down to those tiny little interactions too. Nothing is tiny. Everything matters. And it also doesn't matter at all. All right. I love you guys so much. I don't know if you can feel it. What's happening on Earth is so fucking beautiful. I love you guys. Tell me about it in the comments. When I left Ellie's place on my way to the airport, I got in a fucking Uber. I just, what could I fucking breathe? I love you guys so much, and every time I have to say goodbye to you. I'm sorry. I'm losing my voice too. I have so much love for you guys and this fucking planet and every fucking animal, ant, blade of grass on it. It's just incredible to be here. Thank you for being here on my page, and for those of you who have supported me through all the crap. Everybody trying to take me down. I'm not going anywhere. It's 12 years. I ain't fucking going anywhere. New Energy Creators, 10 years old in 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much. This is so important. It doesn't matter how many people are here, but it could be 20. For a long time it was. What we're doing is so fucking important, and 20's plenty. It really is. All right, I'm gonna go cry on my Cheerios now. I feel like I need some chocolate. I love you guys.